So now I'm going to introduce Annabel Downs, who's the chair of FOLAR, and who's nurtured the idea of celebrating some of the leaders of our profession. Annabel's a landscape architect and garden designer, and she's worked tirelessly over the past few decades to establish an archive of our profession's work for the benefit of future generations. Over to you, Annabel.
Lovely. Thanks very much, Tim. So I haven't allowed anybody to clap you. Lovely warm welcome to the second of FOLAR's special celebrations. There won't be time for me to say this anywhere else. So first of all, in addition to Tim's thanks, I would like to thank Tim for contributing so much thought and work and time to make our event as good as it possibly can be. So thank you. And also to Mary McHugh and Helen Neve, FOLAR's left and right hands and brains, and Diana Armstrong-Bell and earlier Lindsay Abbott for bringing a different level of thinking for us to take on board. And there are many others too. Without a brilliant team, good things don't happen. So FOLAR is concerned with raising awareness and use of the Landscape Archive at the MERL, the Museum of English Rural Life. And because the archive is a living, growing collection, we also try and encourage landscape architects to consider what they do with all their records. We want people to talk to us or MERL. Don't bin, delete stuff or leave it for somebody else to decide. Brian Clouston was our first special person. That event, almost exactly 2 years ago, brought out so many unknown, unpublished facts and thoughts about him and the practice. They're all recorded and freely available now on FOLAR website. One significant outcome has been the start of a new Clouston collection at the MERL. Like Brian, Hal participated in an oral history project with Lindsay Abbott. He's deposited with the MERL invaluable and unique archival material from Brenda Colvin's practice and their joint practice, Colvin and Moggridge. He's written an unusual book, Slow Growth, not just key projects showing him in a good light, but an analytical, dissecting account sharing his understanding and experience of what's important in landscape architecture and for people. Hal is a link to two of the founder members of the Institute through him knowing and working with both Geoffrey Jellicoe and Brenda Colvin. He has a long-time involvement with the Institute's council and committees. His term as president coincides with the 50th anniversary in 1979 and the expansion of the profession. And a president remains tagged, is that the right word, as past president PPLI for life. Hal holds the corporate memory of the profession. Someone sitting next to him at a network of European Landscape Archives IFLA event at Reading turned to him and said, "You are a living archive." It is true, he is. But in Hal's case, it's more than having an accurate memory. He is a torchbearer for the values and principles of those founder members and the profession and the institute they helped create. And it seems this responsibility underlies all his thinking and actions. So how do we get to know people? Well, if you're lucky, you work with them. Sit on committees. We have Hal on our FOLAR committee, thanks to Penny Beckett and Helen Tranter. You socialise, talk and discuss, read their books, look at their projects, see things with them. We're having a bit of a year of Hal. In January we had his talk on Brenda Colvin, a guided walk of Upton Wold Garden in June with a running conversation between Hal and his client Caroline Bond. His enjoyment of being on site in the landscape was irrepressible. And August was the launch of the Green Brown exhibition on Capability Brown at Weston Park, co-organised by Steffi Shields, Hal and others. We have lots more smaller ideas in the pipeline involving Hal, but we haven't discussed these with him yet. Through all of this, many of us have got to know and understand Hal differently and better, and our aim for today is that you will too. Hal has done so much, been involved with so many different people, places, organisations, and is still very active. There are no boundaries to his interest or where he applies them, and nothing seems to faze him. This is remarkable and encouraging and, well, impossible to squish into one day. We've received written and video accounts of his work with ICOMOS, the National Trust Architectural Panel, Pennell Garden, the National Botanic Garden of Wales. We'll post these on the special page on FOLAR's website with a recording from this event and welcome any further material to share. Extracts from some of these are also being shown in the plat room on the loop. In my remaining minutes, I will very briefly set out some background of the young Hal and where seeds of some future themes were germinating. Harry Traherne Moggridge was born in February 1936 in London at 39 Croftdown Road, Tufnell Park, to Helen and Lieutenant Colonel Henry Moggridge. His mother was an artist, printmaker and teacher, and by good chance also a friend of Susan Jellicoe's, who lived just 5 minutes' walk away at 19 Grove Terrace. His father was at this time a senior civil servant in the War Office. Hal said he was passionate about wildflowers and says his own career choice was influenced by both parents' interests and talents. Hal's younger brother, William Bell Moggridge, born 1943, went on to be an award-winning designer, author and teacher. He pioneered interaction design, a human-centered approach, designed the first laptop computer, was director of the Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum in New York. He died in 2012. He operated in a different area from Hal, but design, with people very much the focus, shows there was much common ground between them. By 1949, Hal and family had moved to Tonbridge, and Hal was at Tonbridge School up till 1954. From the school's archivist, we learned that he wrote on the Periwinkle family, was secretary of the school's Natural History Society, and captain of house hockey. In Hal's final school report of 54, his housemaster notes under general remarks, has very definite ideas on life, able and reliable though rather obstinate, entirely trustworthy and sound. That year he applied and won a Leverhulme Scholarship to the Architectural Association and the Judd Leaving Exhibition for art based on drawing and designs from his scholarship portfolio. He was praised for the accuracy of his pencil and washwork and mastery over complicated patterns. In 1958, while at the AA, Hal returned to his school to encourage interest in architecture as a career, with a substantial exhibition including piles of bricks and chimney pots, which left the reviewer confused, but drew praise for the drawings and plans. One in particular caught the eye, that of a concert hall, which had a most original appearance reminiscent of a complicated crystal. He spent the summer term of 58 at Jellicoe's office working on footbridges in the pavilion, small buildings in a landscape setting, at Pilkington's recreation grounds at St Helens. In 1963, at another school art exhibition, Hal showed two particularly intriguing designs: a garden for a blinded artist, one of a series of submissions for membership of the Institute of Landscape Architects, and Crystal 61, a potentially enormous glass structure for exhibition purposes. Hal's brother, who was 20 at this time, submitted a couple of pieces in the utilitarian object category. Mischievously, one was of a toilet roll. After the AA, he went to Notts County Council in 1960 as an architectural assistant, but soon returned to Jellicoe's practice in Gower Street for what Hal describes as 3 happy and stimulating years. He worked on Pilkington Glass Age projects, including Crystal 61, the exhibition centre as shown at his old school, Hal's design to Jellicoe's brief, and Crystal Span, an inhabited bridge across the Thames. He worked on a master plan for Gloucester City Centre where key views of the cathedral tower were identified with the aim of controlling building heights between viewpoints and the tower. Adopted by the planners with defined height restraints, this predated the St Paul's View Line strict controls in London. Hal found Jellicoe's office a place of ideals, bubbling with ideas and demanding original thought. It clearly had a most significant influence on him. He qualified as an architect in 1962, attended evening classes in landscape design under Peter Youngman at UCL, and in 1963 married Cass, the Honourable Catherine Greville Herbert, and we're delighted that Cass and a posse of family members are here today. Jellicoe advised Hal to gain more practical experience rather than take the graduate place he'd won at the University of Pennsylvania on McHarg's course training architects in landscape architecture, and so spent the next 3 to 4 years in a series of different workplaces, including setting up his own practice. Possibly the Jellicoes could see he was not fulfilling his potential in landscape architecture, and aware that Brenda Colvin was looking for a succession plan for her practice, they invited Brenda and Hal to dinner with a group of senior landscape architects at Grove Terrace. Hal is an inspiring example of the guiding hand and kindness to young landscape architects often associated with the Jellicoes. So in 1969, following a short trial period, he entered into partnership with Brenda Colvin, moving to Filkins at her request and renaming the practice Colvin and Moggridge at his request. So I hope, as with Brian's event today, will be a joyous and enlightening celebration for us all. Thank you.